Not the kind of tired sleep fixes, not the kind of tired that disappears after a weekend off. I'm talking about the kind of tired that sits behind your eyes, the kind that makes you stare at the ceiling at night and feel like something inside you is quietly unraveling. You carry so much, and nobody sees it. You move through your day like you're fine. You answer messages, you show up, you smile when it's required, but there's this quiet weight pressing against your ribs, a heaviness you can't explain without sounding dramatic, so you don't explain it. You just endure it. You tell yourself you should be stronger by now. You tell yourself other people have it worse. You tell yourself you're overthinking, too sensitive, too emotional, too much. But here's the truth. You are not too much. You are under-supported. And somewhere along the way, you learned that your needs were inconvenient, so you shrink them. You learned that asking for reassurance makes you weak, that admitting loneliness makes you needy, that saying I'm not okay makes people uncomfortable. So you swallow it. Every rejection you never process, every message left unread, every time someone slowly pulled away and you pretended not to notice, every time you weren't chosen. It remembers the silence after you opened up. It remembers the feeling of being replaceable. It remembers how hard you tried to be valuable. And that's what hurts the most, isn't it? The effort, the emotional labor, the way you show up for people even when you're falling apart inside. You give advice, you offer comfort, you listen, you understand. But when it's your turn, because somewhere deep down, you're afraid that if you show the full weight of what you carry, people will leave. So you become low maintenance, you become easy, you become the strong one. And it is exhausting. There are nights when you feel the loneliness so sharply, it almost feels physical, like something is clawing at the inside of your chest. You scroll through your phone just to distract yourself from the echo. You watch other people living loudly, confidently, loved openly, and you wonder what you're missing. You wonder what you're missing. You wonder what's wrong with you. You replay conversations, you analyze text, you question your tone, you question your worth, you look in the mirror and see flaws before you see strength. You wake up already bracing for disappointment. And no one knows how much you fight just to keep going. Let me tell you a story. There was someone I once knew. On the outside, he was steady, reliable, the one everyone called when things went wrong. He rarely complained. He worked hard, he laughed easily, people described him as solid. But what they didn't see was the pressure. He grew up learning that love had conditions, that approval had to be earned, that mistakes were remembered longer than achievements. So he became exceptional at being what others needed. He was the dependable one, the calm one, the one who didn't crack until one night he did. It wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no breakdown in public. Sitting in his car after a long day, engine off, lights out, forehead resting against the steering wheel, and he felt it, the emptiness. Not because he didn't have people around him, but because he didn't feel known. Not fully, not deeply, not in the places that hurt. He realized something terrifying. He had spent his entire life trying to be valuable to everyone else, but he had never asked himself what he needed to feel safe. He didn't know what that realization broke him, but it also saved him. Because for the first time, he stopped performing strength and started confronting truth. And here's where I need you to listen carefully. You are not exhausted because you are weak. You are exhausted because you are weak. You are exhausted because you are carrying emotional weight without emotional tools. And that brings me to something you probably aren't doing. 3 essential things: simple, uncomfortable, transformational, not surface level habits, deep psychological shifts. The first one is this: you are not validating your own pain. You minimize it constantly, which constantly you say, it's not that bad. You say, I'm just being dramatic. You say, other people deal with worse, but pain does not require comparison to be legitimate. When you invalidate your own emotions, you teach your nervous system that your experience doesn't matter. You become your own critic before anyone else has the chance. And that internal rejection, 19. You need to stop arguing with your feelings. If you feel lonely, say it. If you feel abandoned, admit it. If you feel hurt, let it be real. Not to stay stuck in it, but to honor it. Your emotions are signals, not weaknesses. The second thing you're probably not doing is setting boundaries before resentment builds. You wait, you tolerate, you accommodate, you adjust. You tell yourself it's easier to stay quiet than risk conflict. But every time you say yes when you mean no, you chip away at your self-respect. And resentment grows silently. It shows up as irritation, as distance, as emotional numbness. You think you're being kind by overextending yourself. But real kindness includes yourself. Boundaries are not walls. They are clarity, They are the moment you say, this is where I end, and you begin, without guilt, without apology. And the third thing, doctor, you are not choosing environments that reflect your worth. You stay in spaces that tolerate you instead of celebrate you. You accept half effort, half commitment, half love. Because part of you believes that's all you can get. That belief is not truth, it is conditioning. When you grow up chasing validation, you learn to settle for crumbs because crumbs feel familiar and familiarity feels safe even when it hurts. But your nervous system is tired of surviving. It wants safety. It wants consistency. It wants reciprocity. You deserve relationships where you don't have to audition for acceptance. You deserve to be chosen clearly. Here's the turning point. You are not lost. You are disconnected from yourself. And that disconnection happens slowly. Like through disappointments you never process, through love you overgave, through silence you swallowed, but you can reconnect. Not by becoming louder, not by becoming harder, not by becoming harder, but by becoming honest, radically honest about what hurts, about what you need, about what you will no longer tolerate. This is the psychological truth most people avoid. The world does not value you more when you abandon yourself. When you start valuing yourself, some people will feel it as resistance. They may call you different, distant, difficult. What they really mean is you are no longer convenient. And that is growth. You have spent so much time trying to be worthy. You already are. Your worth is not a reward for endurance. It is inherent. You do not have to earn rest. You do not have to earn love. You do not have to earn understanding. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say this hurt me without explaining it away. I want you to imagine something. Imagine waking up without the constant pressure to prove yourself. Imagine relationships where you can exhale. Imagine not analyzing every interaction for signs of rejection. That life is not fantasy. It begins with internal alignment, with you deciding that your emotional reality matters, with you choosing to respond to yourself with the compassion you so freely give others. You are not broken. You are protective. You built armor because you had to, but armor is heavy. And you don't need it everywhere anymore. There will be discomfort when you change. You will question yourself. You will feel guilt. You will want to retreat back into old patterns. That's normal. But let me be very clear with you. Continuing the way you are is costing you more than the risk of change. It's costing you peace. It's costing you peace. It's costing you peace. It's costing you your relationship with yourself. You deserve to feel valued not because of what you do, but because of who you are. So here's your call to action. Stop abandoning yourself in small ways. Notice when you dismiss your own feelings, pause, validate them. Notice when you agree to something that drains you, reconsider. Notice when you stay somewhere you feel unseen, question it. Consistent honesty. You don't need to transform overnight. You need to choose yourself repeatedly, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's misunderstood, even when it's lonely at first, because the loneliness of growth is temporary. The loneliness of self-abandonment is permanent. You have survived so much quietly. Now it's time to live deliberately, not perfectly, not fearlessly, but truthfully. You are not too sensitive. You are not too emotional. You are not too much. You are someone who has been strong for a very long time, and you are allowed to rest from that role. You are allowed to feel supported. You are allowed to be known. You are allowed to be valued. Start today, not with a grand gesture, but with one brave sentence to yourself. My experience matters. Say until it feels real, and then build your life around it.